Now, the primary market auction today, 118.7 billion naira worth of treasury bills was rolled over. So how did investors position for the auction? Ifeoma Onyejekwe, fixed income trader at UBA, joins me for this discussion. Ifeoma, thank you for joining us today. Now, I asked a trader earlier today his market expectations around subscription levels and stop rates. I'd like to hear yours while we await the results of today's NTB auction.
Thank you, Esther, for having me. So the beginning of this week was very illiquid, and that caused markets to be very calm. That caused trading to be very calm, and we saw banks being frequent borrowers at the CBN standing facility window. So that affected subscription early this morning. But then we now got news of FAC allocation being paid. So we've seen the FAC allocation coming in trickles, and that caused subscription to bump up and then be held there before the auction window closed. So we'll likely see stop rates being maintained at the longer tenor, that's the 364-day bill, while the 91 and 180-day bills remain constant at 2 and 3.5%.
All right, let's talk about today's Wednesday, so that's midweek already. Bring us up to speed on how the market has traded since Monday, starting with liquidity levels and where we've seen the most action on the yield curve from both the from long, mid to the end of the curve.
The market has been very quiet. Monday was in deep debit. The system was in deep debit, and also on Tuesday over 200 billion. So everyone was looking for money everywhere. The special interest was on the CBN special bills. So people sought to sell that in order to generate liquidity so as to meet their funding obligations. But other than that, both on the bond space, the money market, and in the treasury bill secondary market, the market traded on a very quiet note.
Let me ask you this. Now, while we've, obviously the government through the DMO has been very active at the bond market this year, we've also seen some action from the corporates. I mean, compared to what we've seen in previous years, both the big names and some, small or new players also came into the market. But talk to us about that in terms of how that has played out so far this year, in terms of the opportunity that corporates have seen at the market and those that they've been able to take advantage of.
Okay, so the reason why we've seen more corporates in this space this year more than other financial institutions is same thing, because of liquidity issues. For several reasons, there has been a dearth of liquidity in the market. So the major players are like the big corporations and also pension funds. That's why we see more of those players in that space. And then compared to other instruments, the bond instruments have higher yielding. They have higher yields compared to like treasury bills and term deposits and other instruments. So that's why we see more corporate players in that space.
But what is your forecast in terms of, I know that the year has ended, but do you think that 2022 could bring even more? Because I know that some corporates have been keeping their eye on the market this year, and perhaps also thinking about tapping into the market in 2022. So based on the numbers we've seen this year, do you think that we could see a higher number come 2022?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so. And then our economic indices have been, on a positive note. So I believe that would bring in more players, especially in the corporate space, in our debt markets.
Okay, let's talk about the FX market. I know that the naira has held steady, especially at the NAFEX and INE window. But talk to us about CBN interventions so far this week. Has there been a higher, or is it higher number of interventions, or just the regular at the market?
It's irregular, and then we saw the naira gain 27 basis points at the INE window. So on Monday it closed at 405.07, and on Tuesday, that's yesterday, it closed at 404.8. So we saw it gain about 27 basis points due to the CBN interventions for foreign portfolio players, and we continue to see CBN constant intervention and seeing the naira gain steadily.
But still speaking about the CBN, as you know, the CBN, the MPC wrapped up their last meeting for the year. What would you say the market, or key elements that the market took away from that meeting, perhaps especially around the exchange rate and just overall health of the economy?
Well, the unanimous decision by the CBN to maintain policy rate at 11.5, it was in line with market forecast, and the reasons they gave was to support our, our economy, due to our inflation has been increasing at a decelerating rate. So it was in line with market forecast. Nobody expected the CBN to increase or decrease rate. They expected them to hold rate steady.
Okay, but would you say investors are bullish on the economy? Looking at the growth shoots and some of the green shoots that we're seeing here and there in the economy, would you say they're bullish?
I would say they are very cautious, not bullish. We all know that insecurity still continues to thrive in this country, so everyone is still cautious. And then, we also have been challenged in FX earnings from oil receipts. So foreign investors are generally cautious, just watching to see how the economy plays going forward.